Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. It is time for Night School. Every night here on the channel, we host Night School. That is 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We break down the biggest issues, the most intense debates, the most controversial topics that are going on in the world today. And we don't do no easy drive-by. We don't have no superficial conversation. We don't allow no weak talking points. No, we talk about the issues and we talk about them with depth and nuance. This is a global classroom, family, and tonight is no different. I've been out here working and grinding, and in fact, I just came from a virtual rally for Cori Bush, who is, of course, running for re-election as a congresswoman in Missouri. Just like Jamal Bowman in New York, she has received considerable opposition from her primary opponent. And the reason she's gotten this kind of opposition from her primary opponent is not because the people of St. Louis don't rock with her. It's not because the state of Missouri doesn't appreciate her. It's not because she hasn't done her job. It's not because she has been derelict in her duties, but because AIPAC and associated organizations have invested millions of dollars to make sure that she does not get reelected. And so I had to stand up along with some other folk and say, look, not on our watch. It's going to be a fight, and we're going to fight for Cori Bush. And even though they haven't spent the $25 million that they spent to push Jamal Bowman out, it's Missouri. Missouri's a lot cheaper than New York. And so even if they spend $5 million or $10 million in that media market, they're still investing a considerable amount of money for one district, and not to get a Republican in, to get a Democrat in who just supports the Israeli occupation, or at least won't fight it. And so I'm honored to be standing with Cori Bush and to be standing for Cori Bush. By the way, that's the reason why we're starting the show a little bit late too. I had to get things together after the rally, but I'm proud to stand with Cori Bush and to help send a message that you can be progressive, you can be radical, you can have the right politics, you can be on the right side of these issues and still keep your job. That's our commitment to the people. All right, y'all. It's time to get started with Night School, though, man. We got some news that I don't think anybody could have expected. Just when you think President Biden's presidential re-election campaign can't get any worse, the president took to Twitter this evening and announced that he has COVID. That's right. President Biden took to Twitter and says, I tested positive for COVID-19 this afternoon, but I am feeling good and thank everyone for the well wishes. I will be isolating as I recover. And during this time, I will continue to work to get the job done for the American people. I have spoken to some folk in D.C., in the White House, near the White House, and on the campaign trail, and they have all said that so far, the president's symptoms are mild. And the fact that the president's symptoms are mild is a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing because we wish him good health. We want him to live a long time. We want him to not wrestle with any complications from COVID-19. But beyond his own personal health, President Biden could not have picked the worst time to get COVID. And again, there's nothing you can do about it. You out on the campaign trail, the optics are everything. They already think he's old. They already think he's weak. They already think he's sick. I'm talking about, by they, I mean the American people. And that's being reinforced by the Republican Party. So when Joe Biden hits the campaign trail, he can't do what an 80-plus-year-old man is supposed to do, right? Because if you are 82 years old and you're on the campaign trail, or you're just at Denny's trying to get a Grand Slam breakfast, you should be wearing a mask. If you're shaking a million hands and hugging people and kissing people, you should be wearing a mask. You should be vaccinated and wearing a mask. But Joe Biden can't do that because the people who oppose him, the people who support Trump, they believe that masks are a sign of weakness. They believe that COVID-19 is nothing. And so Biden has to go out there raw dogging the atmosphere, and then he gets COVID. And sadly, at a moment where he seems sickly and weak to the American people, he is only looking worse. So this could not happen at a worse time. Now, what I hear, the symptoms are mild. So Joe Biden better be on Zoom. He better be giving press conferences. He better be, I don't care if it's one camera and it's an ISO camera that's manned by a robot. I don't care what it is. He needs to show the American people that he is healthy and doing his job, because he cannot look weak, because it automatically invites a comparison. At the debate stage, Trump looked strong. Trump is a liar. Trump is full of you know what. Trump should not be president. Let me be clear and unequivocal. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm not defending Trump. I'm not endorsing Trump. I'm not trying to suggest that Trump is a better or even reasonable alternative to Biden. Trump is a non-starter. You should not support Trump. I am talking about how it looks to people who like Trump, and how it looks to people who, for some bizarre reason, remain undecided about the choices. Because at this point, to me, I don't see how you could be undecided. Whether you vote in Democrat, Republican, Green, Workers' Party, People's, whatever you vote, I can't imagine how you're uncertain at this moment. But for those who are, Joe Biden is looking weaker than ever. And it creates a narrative that Donald Trump was strong and quick on his feet at the debate. Biden was lumbering and weak. Trump gets shot. Biden gets COVID. And unfortunately, you got people like Van Jones, and I swear to God, I don't even like talking about Van Jones like that. I don't want you to think I got an issue with the brother, like a personal issue. It's just he keeps saying things that we need to talk about. I'll just say that. And so Van Jones on CNN just a few minutes ago says this. He says, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together. When you see a narrative like that being constructed, you got to think about it. Now, first, I don't know why Van Jones would say that. Joe Biden has not been stopped by COVID. He got COVID. Just like Joe Biden, just like Donald Trump didn't get stopped by the bullet, he got shot, right? Donald Trump kept going, kept working, kept campaigning. He even golfed the next day. We don't know what Joe Biden's going to do. Joe Biden just announced this 2 hours ago. So to say that Joe Biden got stopped by COVID is inaccurate and irresponsible, I think, Van. I totally disagree with you. And although Van is wrong about this, Van is still reinforcing or reflecting, a narrative that is going to pervade. And that is that Trump is strong and Biden is weak. So the Biden administration absolutely took a major hit today with that announcement. And they had to announce it because Biden ain't going to be showing up to stuff. And it's a different era. 4 years ago, Trump got COVID. And he got rushed to the hospital. And people had sympathy. Some people hoped he died. But the people who liked him wished him sympathy. The people who want him to die, did that. And there was fear and uncertainty. Now it just looks like Biden can't stay healthy. And the only uncertainty is about Biden, not about the illness. And that's not a good thing. But I want us to remember, beyond the horse races, beyond the cycles, these are human beings. I wish Joe Biden well. I wish him a quick recovery. And I absolutely need him to do everything that he can do to stop Donald Trump from entering the White House. That's all I got to say about that. Now, while the Trump campaign is still making big money, I mean big money, while Joe Biden is dealing with this COVID situation, Donald Trump's campaign is still flying high from, ironically, him getting shot down. At a moment where everybody is still talking about the Trump attempted assassination, the Republican Party is closing ranks around the narrative that Donald Trump is a warrior. For the last 2 days at the Republican convention and all around the country in Republican circles, we are beginning to see the Trump cult add ear bandages to their wardrobe. Ear bandages to their cult wardrobe. What do I mean by the cult wardrobe? Again, I told you, the RNC, you watch him come into the RNC convention in Milwaukee, floating through like a deity. They look at him like he got raised up from the dead. They worship Donald Trump in this MAGA cult. And part of their cult uniform, of course, is that stupid red hat. Or now they just added the ear bandage. As a way of honoring or memorializing Donald Trump's shooting, these idiots are walking around with ear bandages, fake ear bandages on their ears. Now, normally this would just be something stupid that Republicans are doing. And I wouldn't even find the need to address it. Except that this movement is actually building strength. They are reinforcing the idea that Donald Trump was really on some Tupac-ish. Like he just, that shot couldn't hit, you know what I mean? Couldn't kill me. You know what I mean? Like he just, like he just took it and smiled, right? Walking around with that ear bandage is a reminder of Trump's alleged strength and courage and conviction that he ate a shot, was bleeding out, and still kept fighting. Republicans are closing ranks around this. They're also monetizing it. There's websites, I don't want to post the website, but there's websites around the country that are literally selling these bandages. And they're doing it at the expense of American democracy. Because not only are they continuing to reinforce a very dubious story about Donald Trump getting shot, because let's be honest here, we ain't seen no evidence that Donald Trump took some hard bullet, or that he needed stitches, or that he was bleeding out. We don't know that to be true. And nothing Donald Trump said, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if a little piece of shrapnel nicked him, or if he got cut while hitting the deck. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I know there was a real shooting, and I know Donald Trump was really in danger, and I know there was a real assassination attempt. But that ear thing, I don't know. It feels like he is doing something very, very cynical here. Ala Chippy said, pretty soon there will be Trump logo earband. You got that right. Make our earlobes great again. They will do something to monetize this crisis. Donald Trump ain't never found a problem that he didn't want to economically exploit. Let's be real about that. So I just want y'all to understand how ridiculous the Trump MAGA cult is right now. They are out here. They are out here literally dressing up like Donald Trump's ear bandage as a way of affirming their allegiance to him. It's sick. But what's crazy is, what's really crazy, if we're going to really keep it funky, is even as we talk about this, we don't know what happened, but the more information that comes out about Donald Trump's alleged ear injury, the more it doesn't really seem to be true. Again, let me be clear. Donald Trump absolutely was the target of a very real assassination attempt. I'm not taking anything away from that. What I'm saying is Donald Trump, that assassination attempt was unsuccessful, and that person couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And I'm not convinced that Donald Trump really took a bullet in the ear, and was bleeding out and needed all that stuff. In fact, let's take it from here. Donald Trump's son does an interview where he addresses the shooting. And contrary to what many people were saying, Eric Trump made it very clear that Donald Trump did not need the kind of medical attention that is being suggested on mainstream media. Check it out for yourself. This is the part where it plays. It'll play in a second, man. I don't know what's going on. But look, Donald Trump's son, and I'll play the clip for you because for some reason we're having a problem loading here. But Donald Trump's son said it himself. In fact, here it is.
Last night, former President Donald Trump made his ever I think he's changed his speech for years or been on. I'm not sure if I've ever felt
Eric
love
Trump,
echo through the halls of
Eric
this
Trump
place.
appeared
Some of
on
that love
CBS
came in the form
Morning.
of people wearing
Here's what he
patches
said.
on their ears sort of in honor of your father. And people are really curious. Does he have stitches under there? Yeah, no stitches, but you know, certainly a nice flesh wound. And I know it's crazy. Again, I never would have thought I'd be sitting there on a couch with my two children watching my father almost get assassinated on live TV. But again, he's in great spirits. He's determined as ever. I think he's changed his.
So imagine that. It starts off, Donald Trump took a bullet to the ear. Then Donald Trump got his ear cut open. He was bleeding out. Then, oh, wait, he didn't even need stitches? This is a flesh wound? He got scratched? Oh, you really milking this thing, Playboy. Donald Trump, again, I ain't never been the victim of an assassination attempt. I've been shot at, but not like that. I understand how serious this is. And I understand that Donald Trump has to make it sound uber dangerous and uber high risk, and that his health is in some extraordinary peril in order to really sell the whole MAGA cult that he's a messiah. It's hard to sell it. It's hard to say you cheated death when you just got a flesh wound. So I understand the need for all the lies, but it's up to us as a media to not continue to advance that lie. We as a media have to step up and say Donald Trump was the target of an assassination attempt. The shooter missed, and Donald Trump sustained an unconfirmed, unexplained scratch on his ear. Now, if you want to show me some medical records, Donald Trump, you can add your tax returns to that too. Show me some medical records, some tax returns, some business work. I'll believe whatever narrative you tell me if you give me some evidence. But until then, I am inclined to say that Donald Trump is absolutely full of shit. Donald Trump is in his Nelly era with that. So he just might be. Yo, he's on a straight Saint Lunatics vibe. Yo, I don't understand it. Anyway, Donald Trump is not all we're going to talk about tonight. In fact, when we come back, we're going to give you the war update in the Gaza Strip. We're going to tell you everything that's going on in Gaza, give you a quick update. And later on, we'll talk about some other things going on, including J.D. Vance, because he has said some stuff in the past. And as always, when you run for office, what you said in the past comes back to bite you. Stay here. We'll tell you all about it. All right, family, welcome back to Night School. It is time for the War on Gaza report. Every night here on the channel, whether before night school, during that night school, or after night school, we're going to give you the update on Israel's war on, not in, but on Gaza. And today, of course, Israel's war on Gaza has reached day 285. And we begin, as we always do, with the numbers. At least 38,794 people have been killed, and 89,364 people have been wounded since the beginning of Israel's war on Gaza on October 7th, 2023. I always have to add, though, that the 38,794 people killed in Gaza does not include, that's an official number, but it does not include the 10,000 people who continue to lay under the rubble, the 10,000 people whose bodies continue to be unidentified unburied, unclaimed by their families. So this war on Gaza has already produced 50,000, virtually 50,000 casualties. And that number is only going to rise given the extraordinary amounts of violence that we've seen in the Gaza Strip just in the last week. In the last 10 days, 8 schools have been bombed. 8 schools have been bombed. And let's be clear, it would be a moral atrocity if it were just a school. But this isn't just a school. This is a school that is sheltering displaced people. These are shelters. So the school has been used as a shelter, and they're bombing the school, which violates every single rule of war known to man. In fact, Philippe Lazzarini, who is the head of UNRWA, the United Nations Relief Works Agency, has said that all rules of war have been broken in Gaza. He's referring to the fact not just that 8 schools have been bombed in 10 days, but that 70% of the schools, since October 7th, 70% of UNRWA schools, 70% of the schools that are primarily used to provide education, the education system, they comprise the educational system of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. They've been bombed. 70% of 70% of UNRWA schools have been bombed. It's absurd. And of course, the most recent attack was the Cairo school in Gaza City. That strike by Israel, it's an airstrike, killed 9 Palestinians, and that includes 3 children. Riyad Mansour, who is Palestine's envoy to the United Nations, tells the UN Security Council that this current war on Gaza is the, quote, most documented genocide in history. Washington's envoy to the UNSC, the UN Security Council, said that there has been progress in talks to adopt an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Now, those of you who hear that might be saying, well, wait a minute, didn't the UN Security Council demand a ceasefire? They sure did. They demanded it in March. They demanded it 4 months ago. And yes, it's only now that there are serious talks about there being an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. But even still, even against the backdrop of that demand in March and the progress now, there is every reason to believe that there won't be a ceasefire anytime soon. Why? Partly because of the constant provocation of the Israeli government by bombing schools. Partly because of the clear irreconcilability of Israel's position and the Gaza leadership position. They're irreconcilable differences. Somebody's got to give, and it seems like Hamas in this case has given and given and given. And Israeli government, it's not clear exactly what they've given. I'm not saying they haven't given. I'm saying I don't know because they haven't made public their negotiating point. And so the only way to get a ceasefire is to continue negotiations. But those negotiations can't happen even with the support of Egypt, even with the support of Qatar, even with the support of the United States. They cannot happen if there are constant invasions of Khan Yunis, if there are evacuation orders in Nusrat that don't actually lead to safe evacuations of the people. It doesn't work if Gaza City continues to be shelled and bombed. It does not work if schools get destroyed every day. So the optimism for a ceasefire, it's there, but there's no real warrant for it. There's no real reason to believe that it's going to happen. So that's just something that we have to deal with. That's just something we have to be honest about. All right, y'all, that is your War on Gaza update. We'll have more on that tomorrow, and we will have it every single day here on the channel. So stay here. We'll be back with much more after the break. Again, we're talking J.D. Vance. Woo, he said some terrible things. I can't wait to share them with you. Stay right here. All right, family, welcome back to Night School. As you know, this week, Donald Trump selected J.D. Vance, the junior senator out of Ohio, to be his vice president or his vice presidential running mate, his choice for the VP, which at a moment where Joe Biden's getting destroyed in the election seems like a pretty high stakes choice. This isn't a symbolic run. J.D. Vance is very likely to be the next vice president of the United States. And since Donald Trump only has one term left if he wins, it means that J.D. Vance is in a prime position to also become potentially the 48th president of the United States. So J.D. Vance is a big deal. And the moment J.D. Vance was selected to be the VP, all the stuff came out from the past. People pointed out that J.D. Vance was at one point a never Trumper. People pointed out that at one point, J.D. Vance was calling Trump an idiot. At one point, J.D. Vance goes on hardball with Chris Matthews and says that he believes Donald Trump's a liar. Effectively, he implies it and says that he believes the victim in the allegations of sexual misconduct against Donald Trump. So we see J.D. Vance's true self coming out. Well, more recently, J.D. Vance has had some other stuff come out. J.D. Vance was interviewed, and in this interview, Vance says that people who are in relationships, marriages, should absolutely stay in them. I'm going to pull this. I'm pulling it up right now because my damn I think I accidentally closed it out, and I need y'all to see this quote because I don't want you to think that I'm exaggerating. J.D. Vance is the kind of extremist on most issues that we care about that if you don't give him an exact quote, one would think that his political opponents are exaggerating what he said. So I'm going to read to you exactly what J.D. Vance said. He said, "This is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace." Let me pull this up so you can see it with your own eyes, man. Because again, I don't want y'all to think that I'm exaggerating. I want you to really see what this crazy idea is that he's put forward, right? I'm going to put this up for you. He says, look at this. He says, "This is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is the idea that these marriages were fundamentally, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term." So he's criticizing, right? He's framing the argument as people are unhappy. Yeah, sometimes the marriage might even be violent, right? But we make it easy for people to get out of those marriages. He said, and maybe it worked for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids of those marriages. And that's what I think all of us should be honest about. We've run this experiment in real time, and what we have is a lot of very, very real family dysfunction that's making our kids unhappy. So J.D. Vance, y'all's vice presidential hopeful, is saying that people should stay in the marriages even if it makes them happier to leave the marriage. People should stay in the marriage even if the marriage is violent. Why? Because it's good for the kids. Now, first of all, it's absolutely unreasonable and maybe even cruel to tell people to just stay unhappy in their relationships because it makes the kids happy. It's also problematic when he says he questions whether people are really happier when they leave unhealthy marriages. What the hell are you talking about? Yes, people are happier when they leave unhealthy marriages. But then this idea of the violence, you're saying that if someone's in a domestic violence filled marriage, that maybe they should stay too. And to call that changing spouses like underwear, to be so cavalier and dismissive and cruel about somebody who makes a decision to leave a marriage where there is violence. It's absurd, J.D. Vance. It's cruel, J.D. Vance. You are wrong, J.D. Vance. And to say somehow also, finally, that children are better off when the parents stay together. You don't know, J.D. Vance, what it's like then to grow up in a household where parents are unhappy. Because when kids are in a household where the parents are unhappy, the kids are unhappy. When the kids grow up in a household where there's domestic violence, the kids are also the victims of domestic violence. And the type of trauma that they have to endure, the type of violence that they have to witness, you have no idea, J.D. Vance. So how dare you tell people that they should somehow stay, or that there's some character flaw or moral failure or lack of fortitude or commitment because they don't want to stay in an unhealthy marriage. Stop it, J.D. Vance. But this is the type of extremism that y'all might be witnessing in the White House, if you know that you will be witnessing in the White House if you vote for J.D. Vance. That's all I'm going to say. And if you vote for Donald Trump, that's all I'm going to say. And when you vote for one, you're voting for the other. But that's not the only thing. J.D. Vance has also expressed extremist views. J.D. Vance has also expressed extremist views on abortion. Now, we know that many people on the right and some on the left are pro-life. Some support abortion under very select few circumstances. One of those circumstances, of course, being incest, etc. Well, J.D. Vance is one of those people who doesn't seem, based on his past record and based on his website, which he scrubbed today, he's one of those people who seems to not believe in it at all under any circumstance. I want to bring up his website, right? Now, this is the thing about politics. You can try to hide your past. You can try to make the world forget that you said something. You can try, but there's just too many records. There's too much evidence. And here is an example of what I'm talking about. J.D. Vance tried to scrub his website, but we found the archive. So here's first is the video that he gave.
Because so much of what we're trying to do here is create not just a legal right to life, but a culture of life. I grew up in a family without a whole lot of money. I saw a lot of my friends and even family members choose abortion over life, because so much of what happens is that we pressure our young women and young men to see babies as inconveniences to be discarded instead of new life to celebrate and to cherish. That is one of the things that we have to fight against. So today is the 49th anniversary of that terrible Supreme Court decision, Roe versus Wade. On the 50th anniversary of Roe versus Wade, I'll be here if you'll have me, and I think we'll be marching in a world where Roe versus Wade has been overturned.
So he very prescient, right? He said, we're going to live in a world where Roe v. Wade is overturned. He was fighting to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, again, there are people who don't support abortion, who believe that it's wrong, but who still have at least a reasonable belief that, you know, maybe women should be able to have abortions if they've been molested, if they're the product of incest, if they're the product of rape, if they are the victims of rape, excuse me. The product of incest being the baby, I was saying. So in other words, a woman shouldn't be forced to carry her father's baby, or the little girl shouldn't be forced to carry her father's baby. A woman shouldn't be forced to birth her rapist's baby. These are fairly reasonable positions to take. even if you don't support abortion. Nobody's 100% pro-abortion, maybe 90, maybe 95, but 100 is an extremist position. Well, turns out J.D. Vance, Trump's vice presidential choice, has an extremist position. Up until yesterday, this is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. Up until yesterday, J.D. Vance had this on his website. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see. Can you see it now? It says, I am 100% pro-life. He didn't say 90%. He didn't say 95%. He said, I am 100%. Remember, this is from the J.D. Vance website until yesterday. But again, we got ways of finding it. He said, I am 100% pro-life and believe that abortion has turned our society into a place where we see children as an inconvenience to be thrown away rather than a blessing to be nurtured. But if you are 100% pro-life and you believe in pro-life or fighting abortion, really, because they ain't really pro-life. They don't care about babies after they're born. But if you're 100% pro-life and you're saying that the babies are blessings to be nurtured, then you're saying that the person who is molested and the victim of incest and the victim of rape, they are all throwing away their blessings. That there's a blessing in that they need to nurture, and instead they're throwing away. If you're 100% pro-life or 100% anti-abortion, to be more accurate, J.D. Vance, and you're saying that the young girl should view carrying her brother or father or uncle's baby as a blessing to be nurtured. How dare you? And to call that protecting the unborn. Look, your whole point about expanding adoption, promoting pregnancy centers, encouraging people to not make hasty decisions, coming up with support for mothers, all of that is fine. That ain't the issue. Let's be very clear. That is not the issue. It's the idea that you explicitly said that you're 100%, and people say, "Oh, well, you're reading too much into it." Am I? Because J.D. Vance took it down off his website sometime between yesterday and today. It's been there all that time. He's been saying 100% pro-abortion or pro-life, whatever, forever. But now he knows that the limelight is on him. He knows he's in the spotlight, and he doesn't want to get outed for the crazy extremist that he is on this issue. They always want you to believe the left are the crazy extremists and the radicals. He's the one who's taking an extremist position. But what he wants to do, of course, is throw the rock and hide his hands. His base knows that he has the extremist position. They're going to vote for him because of his extremist the extremist position is what J.D. Vance is taking. Let's just leave it there. He's the one taking an extremist position. And his base knows it. So even when he makes a public pivot or scrubs his page, they know what they're getting, but they're hoping that the middle, the uncertain folk, won't realize what he's actually asking for. So that's why we're here, to make sure that people know. All right, y'all, that is it for Night School. Before we go, though, I want to take just a couple comments, a couple questions maybe. Somebody here, Major Media, said, like the other day, you said they passed a ruling that Trump can't be locked up for his duty as president, but the truth is the ruling was for any president, not Trump. I agree. That's what I said just yesterday, in fact. In fact, what I said yesterday was that if or maybe it was 2 days ago, if Joe Biden, under the new Supreme Court ruling, Joe Biden could say that the political assassination of Donald Trump was part of his national security, was official government business, and therefore he couldn't be tried as a war criminal or as a criminal for it. That'd be the Trump decision, which it was a Trump decision, being used to benefit Biden. I also say Ellie said that on the first day that this came out. So no, I've never said that it's a ruling only for Trump. but the ruling was made for Trump. It was specifically made for Trump in response to it. It was a Trump ruling, but the ruling affects all future presidents. And what we believe is that it creates the context where presidents are going to be treated like kings. And that's the thing that we don't want. That's the thing that we cannot have. That's the thing that undermines any even semblance of democracy. I want to shout out Lauren L., who gifted 10 memberships to the channel. 10 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. We're so grateful. I also want to welcome Jay Williams for becoming a member of the channel. And Lauren L. didn't just donate 10, she also became a member herself. So shout out to you for that as well. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm so grateful for your comments. I'm so grateful for your the love. That is how we keep the channel going, y'all. And in fact, that's what I want to tell y'all before we go. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button right here, it lets the YouTube algorithm know that you're rocking with us, which increases our footprint and increases our chances of becoming even more powerful in our fight against corporate mainstream media. So hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button now, because when you do that, we expand our media footprint. We expand our social media footprint in particular, which again allows us to fight the fight, to get more content out to more people, and to make sure that more eyeballs are on the issues and the concerns and the arguments that we think are the most important. And of course, somebody just wrote in and said, how do you become a member? Hit the join button. That's all you got to do, my brother. Hit the join button. If you don't see a join button, you're probably on your mobile phone, on your iPhone or your Galaxy or whatever you got out there. Go to a desktop and go to our YouTube channel and see if you don't see the join button. And when you see the join button, hit the join button. For as low as $3.99 a month, you can become a channel member, which again gives us the financial stability and consistency that we need to put out all the amazing content that we put out every single day. I'm talking about the Classroom in the Cell with Mumia Abu-Jamal. I'm talking about Coffee and Books podcast, which comes on Saturday at 9 a.m. The Mumia podcast is Sunday 9 a.m. Office Hour Sunday 9 p.m. And of course, every night here, Monday to Friday on the channel, we hold night school. And to do the night school thing as well as we do it, I got staff, I got editors, I got technology, and we're building a studio. And I'm doing all of it without a corporate media sponsor. I'm doing it all without a billionaire behind me. I'm doing it all with the muscle and the support and the love and the resources of the people. So please, if you can make a donation, please do it. I know some of you can't make a monthly donation. Some of you cannot commit to a monthly donation, but what you can do right now is make a single donation. Consider it tuition payments for the month. Go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. Any one of those will do. And just drop something in. If you drop in $1, we greatly appreciate it. If you drop in $1 million, we greatly appreciate it. And anything in between, we greatly appreciate it. No amount is too small. We ask that you give the best you can in order to help us move this grassroots radical media project forward. And right now, like I said, any amount will do. But if everybody watching right now were to donate $10, if everybody watching the channel right now were to use Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle and drop $10 in, we would meet all of our financial goals for the month. So please consider $10 right now in Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. And again, if you can only do 5, that's fine. If you can only do 2, that's fine. If you can only do $1, that's amazing. We're just grateful for the support. And of course, as I always say, money ain't everything. So if you don't have the money to donate, don't hesitate to just hit that like button, just hit the subscribe button, and just share the content and spread the word about night school. And most of all, while you're sharing and liking and subscribing and joining, don't forget to study, because that's what night school is really all about. Deep study, deep thought, so that we can change this world. All right, family, I'll see you again tomorrow night, right here, same time, same channel.